Brendan, embarrassing, pathetic, shameful and humiliating defeat in Kazakhstan, knocked out of the Champions League on penalties by Carrot Almighty. You must be furious.
Well, I'm very proud to be here. I think I'm absolutely delighted with the defeat tonight, because I think this means now that we won't have to go to PSG, Real Madrid, Liverpool or Barcelona with Adam Eder and Yang up front and make an absolute twonk of ourselves. For me it's more relief, because I really didn't fancy a couple more 7-0 defeats on my wee CV, because we all know that we would have just embarrassed ourselves. So it's more relief, but I'm very proud of the players. They work so hard.
Brendan, it was an absolute embarrassment all over. And did you do any research on the Kazakhstan champions?
Yeah, look, we did a lot of research on I think me and the guys, we must have watched the Borat film, about 13 times. And it was really funny. It was really funny. Not as funny as our performance tonight, but it was very funny. And look, character, they're 37,353rd ranked best team in the world. They're just under the Dog and Duck over 55s in the Wolverhampton Veterans League. So we knew it'd be a really tough test. And it's quite ironic that we were playing Carrot, because I haven't been given a carrot to spend in the transfer market. So very proud to be
Well,
here.
you mentioned the board. As you say, this team is no way equipped for Champions League football. Brendan, they're really not backing you, are they?
No, look, I'm being a wee bit unfair on the board, because I did notice in the canteen this week that there was they had put a couple of packets of chocolate digestives in the cupboard. So to be fair to them, that probably still is enough of an investment to to win the league, beat Rangers to the title. I can't really argue with that.
I don't think anybody could argue with that, with Russell Martin in charge. And how are your players feeling in the dressing room?
The players are shattered. They work so hard. They walked around the pitch there, doing nothing for 2 hours. So they're really tired. So I'll definitely be giving them all a rest at the weekend, because we've got a really easy game against one of the little teams fighting relegation at the weekend. Rangers. So yeah, but I'm very proud of them. What an effort! They're beautiful human beings.
Kyogo now, 17 years ago, still not replaced. Have you told the board you're desperate for a striker?
Well, look, I don't think I need to tell the board we need a striker, because they were there watching the game, and you've got a wee guy up front who couldn't get a game for Norwich City reserves. And they think we should be in the Champions League with that. But no, look, to be fair to Adam Eder, that pass back at the end there, the penalty, he struck that beautifully. And once it does get to the goal in the next 3 hours, it could go in. But no, so very proud of the players. So.